Today, we are excited to welcome Krista Kim. Krista is an NFT artist and founder of the Techism movement. She promotes the confluence of art and technology and light and sound innovation as a medium to further the development of digital humanism and mental well-being for all. Forbes describes her as the new digital Rothko. Krista is the first artist to create a now infamous NFT house called the Mars House, and the first person to bring an NFT public art installation to the world-renowned Sothebys. Welcome, Krista. We're really excited to have you.
Hi, thank you so much for having me, Kim.
I'm going to start off with some basic questions. What is digital humanism? And how do you think it's going to impact the world for the better? Because that's definitely your platform.
Well, I think that, ever since the smartphone was introduced to the world through Apple and Steve Jobs, and that was probably 2010, around that time, the world has changed, right? And, digitization, socializing through your phones digitally, falling in love and meeting people over, digital devices and the medium, it's just become like, an alternate form of reality, another dimension of human reality. And a lot of the devices that we've adopted, it was kind of blindly adopted, right? We have all these smartphones and we have social media platforms, but are they actually good for us? Are they healthy? Are they fostering, meaningful human connection? The answer is no. A lot of these platforms were designed for one objective, and that's to make money. And so you have the technocrats and engineers, and you have, capitalists creating these systems of human interaction that are a blunt instrument of commerce that alienates us as human beings. So for me, I was kind of, just analyzing my own behaviors on these Facebook and WhatsApp and Instagram, and observing how people were interacting with each other. And I thought, it's very sociopathic. It's very narcissistic. It's not healthy. And I thought, well, it's not healthy, and therefore billions of people around the world participating on these platforms at the same time, something's going to happen. There's going to be some mental illness issues, especially with young, impressionable people in their teens or younger. If this is their playground, it's a toxic playground. So for me, humanism and digital humanism became a very important cause, because I have two young children. They're now 14 and 12, but at the time they were really young. So I wanted their future to be healthy, and I didn't want them to be exposed to this toxic, narcissistic culture on digital media, which is actually creating the largest numbers of depressed and anxious young people ever in history. We have studies now that say we are suffering from mental illness because of these social media platforms. So what is digital humanism? It's basically an awareness that we're trying to build. What's the question? What does it mean to be a digital human, and where's the beauty in it, right? Where's the beauty in our interactions? Where's the empathy and the humanity in our interactions? And can we actually create these systems so that they actually serve us and that they're good for humanity? And that's the questions we're asking as digital humanists.
You wrote a Techism Manifesto, and you wrote it back then, but then it's evolved over time. So how has it evolved over time for you?
So when I wrote this manifesto in 2014, it was actually because I was actually doing my studies, my master's in fine art in Singapore. And so of course, that whole discourse about art and what is the role of digital art? What is it, and how does it affect us? And when I wrote this manifesto, it was because of my studies, especially my investigations into the work of Marshall McLuhan. The medium is the message, right? Mm-hmm. So with every technology that evolves, that we're exposed to, that we adapt as a civilization, it actually affects our psychology, our human interactions, our relationships, and the power structures. And every aspect of our lives is affected by the technology. right? So when you look at, when television was first introduced, it was a top-down communication method. So it was really easy to control the minds of people. But now with digital, it's more of a peer-to-peer. And it's more like we have tribes and we're not listening to one source of information anymore. We have boundless, so anyone can actually create their own sounding board of information too. So it's more democratized. But then at the same time, when I wrote the Techism Manifesto, it was all about, we need art, we need philosophy, we need everything we've learned since the Enlightenment period, bring that into tech and the new civilization that's being created there, because there's new culture that is being created. A lot of these tech companies have no idea or have been completely clueless because they just they're all like left brain focused. Okay, let's bring the right brain into the conversation. We need to have people connected to culture, to feelings, to society, to relationships, to be part of the development process of what a technology becomes when it's developed right at the inception, right? So think about this. If Facebook had artists and philosophers at the beginning of the inception of the company, it would be a very different company today. It wouldn't be what it is today.
What do you think
Techism is about...
Sorry, what do you think some of the applications that artists would have brought to Facebook would be?
Well, I mean, here's ethics, right? And human rights. You want to make sure that you're not actually infringing upon the human rights of the people. We already have a lot of our freedoms taken away at such a level where, and people are so unaware of it that it just becomes normal, but that's not right. That's not how it should be. So Techism is about getting philosophers, getting artists, especially when I was talking about in 2014, when no one was talking about digital art. Get them into digital. Think about digital medium as a real medium of creating a new society and start collaborating with technologists, collaborating with entrepreneurs, collaborating with the technology in making it beautiful for mankind. And that's what artists do.
And I wanted to hear from you what you thought about the metaverse in terms of how do you think it's going to enhance our health and happiness in the future, both in the real world and the virtual world?
For me, I think that the metaverse is a wonderful opportunity for us to present a possible utopian world where people are transcending all divisions that exist in the real world. By divisions, I'm talking about political divisions, religion, race, any sort of archaic divisions that have, caused conflict in the past. We can actually transcend that. And you already see that with Gen Z. They're already transcending that in the metaverse. When they're playing on Roblox or any other metaverse gaming platform, they don't care about where the other person comes from, or they don't even know their real name. They're just human to human. Like, I'm me and I'm expressing myself, and I honor the fact that you're expressing you. So this is a totally different and a new paradigm of human interaction where we're really free to be ourselves and free to do what we want and to create beautiful things and to share them with one another. So that's going to influence what we see in the real world, because what we see there, we can build in real life. People are going to start experiencing a real expansion of the possibilities of human consciousness and human connection, and also connection to inanimate things, digital things in the metaverse that lasts forever. So it's not only about NFTs, I think it's more a question of like the metaverse and that whole human experiment that's about to unravel.
Since you're in the art space, how are NFTs disrupting the art, but also the ideas market? Can you give us some examples of that?
Well, the entire definition of what art is completely disrupted, and the possibilities of what it can be. Because when you're actually creating a mechanism for social engagement and community building, which is the NFT as a medium in itself. So art is no longer just a painting on the wall or a sculpture in your house. This is it's a platform, and the platform is the art form. So the platform enables you to create value, a value structure attached to a digital file, and then you can engage your community in ways that have never been used before. And I'll give examples of like Pack, for example. He created a new drop called Lost Poets. and people were given a blank sheet of paper as their first NFT. And it continues to evolve the community as they purchase the first, set of blank papers. These blank papers actually interact with the owner, and the picture of a poet appears, and it keeps changing. And the people involved in the project co-create. So there is a wonderful opportunity to co-create, co-vest, to be immersed into an art project in ways that have never been done before. And for myself, I created an NFT out of a public art installation that's happening in Fort York, and it's an actual tour that's going to tour the world, a healing sound and light installation on giant LED walls. I want to bring, this all over the world, and the NFT is a mechanism for me to actually help finance that effort and build support. And there are many ways to create that iteration too. So what is art? The platform is the art form, completely changed the game, and it will never be the same.
And what about democratizing ideas and valuing ideas? Anyone can have ideas and sell those ideas directly to others. I mean, it takes middlemen out of the game. So yeah. What do you think about that?
So I love that. I absolutely do. And, as an artist that started in the NFT space in February, I was whitelisted on Superware in February. Then I minted a few pieces, and then I created the Mars House last year in May, but I minted it in March. And the fact that I had access to collectors' eyes on the platform, and that there's an ecosystem of support for NFT art, that is what created the success for myself and for other artists. And we're very fortunate. And so it's never been like this before, where there is a community and an ecosystem built around supporting the artists, instead of having, the intermediaries control the market, which is how it was for hundreds of years before the NFT space. So things have changed, and that power dynamic between art galleries and artists have now changed as a result, because it used to be that the art galleries would control and manage the career of the artist, but now it's different. They're now providing a service, right? It's a different mentality, because the artist can easily, of course, sell their own art on their own. It changes the game. There are more options. So it's a wonderful development, and it's a great future for art and creatives.
What is the role of Sothebys then in a project like that?
Exposure to collectors' eyes. It's an institution. So really it's art world cred, if you will, right? I mean, you're there. And so that means that, people recognize you and they know your work, across the art market. And that's an important statement, I think, because we are still at a crossroads. I mean, the NFT market experienced its first introduction earlier this year. So it's a baby. Yeah. And so we still need to have a bridge between the traditional market and the NFT market. And the traditional market is now starting to get educated, collect cryptocurrency. This is a process. It's not easy to get people to buy their first Ethereum or to sign up for a MetaMask. It's all a learning curve. And it's also a gradual shift, because people just can't switch all of a sudden. So we are the pioneers, but Sothebys symbolizes that broader movement of the entire art world into the future. And that's a good sign.
The most intriguing part of the Mars House is actually the story behind it, the why you actually built it, and what you did with the money in the real world, right? You kind of flipped the whole crypto economy on its head and used the Mars House for good in the real world. Could you explain that to our audience?
Okay, so the Mars House I created last year during the height of the COVID crisis. I was stuck in my condo, right? And I was like, okay, I have to create my dream home, a bit of escapism. And it was really healthy. I actually create healing art installations on screens. I'd like to use the screen as a mechanism for healing and for wellness, and to show people that you can harness that technology for us, for humanity, for wellness. So I thought, okay, I'm going to integrate these healing sound frequencies, the light, into an architectural home where I can actually create like a retreat for 3 or 4 days for, for sound and light treatment and rejuvenation. So I created the house. So the ceiling and the floor substrates are video, and it's my art installation and music by Legovskoy, my longtime collaborators. They do incredible sound and light, sound healing frequency music and sound baths in Europe. So I really believe that, our environment really is a mirror of the mind. And I learned that in Kyoto when I was hanging out in Kyoto at the Ryoenji Temple Garden. That garden taught me that the garden actually mirrored a Zen state of consciousness in my mind, because it is so minimalist and it was intentional. The monks created such a beautifully manicured garden, minimalism, that calmed me. That actually put me into a state of Zen. And that's what I wanted to do with the Mars House. I wanted to be digital Zen. I wanted to express Zen in the 21st century and beyond. Yeah, so it's a pretty cool project.
Can you explain to the audience how sound frequency can heal the mind and the body?
Certain frequencies of music can actually instill calming states in the brain, because it just influences the vibration of the brain state. And so that's something that I'm very interested in. And I've been collaborating with, artists who study it and can actually instill calming frequencies. And in combination with light, I mean, if you look at the horizon and the sky and sunset or a beautiful day, you see the gradients in the sky. And that's something that we have always been informed by as human beings, the sky and the gradients, the color, the light. And it's healing for us. It's vast, sublime. It's something that, reminds us that there's something bigger than us out there, right? And there's something beyond. And so that's the kind of effect that I really want to instill in people through my art installations. And so with the Mars House, right, so the sale of the Mars House finances a world tour called Continuum. And I actually already started in Aranya, China, September 12th. 9th to 12th. We actually created a beautiful 20-foot long, 6 feet high LED wall that was installed on a beach. And we had meditation classes, yoga. People came and they actually waited for the sunset or the sunrise in front of the installation. A moment of solace, but sublime beauty. I mean, that's and also incorporating our natural environment. I think that's the beautiful combination. So that was wonderful. And then Toronto is on October 1st to October 4th, and that's also co-sponsored by the City of Toronto and my foundation, the Continuum Foundation, which I founded since the sale of the Mars House. And Jeff Schroeder will be performing live from the 1st until the 3rd for guests to come. And you have to sign up, but it is free. And it's for the community. It's about healing and reconciliation. Mm-hmm. And that's what we want to bring to the world, and that's what the Mars House enabled us to do. And this would not have been possible if it weren't an NFT.
People don't realize you sold that NFT for almost $540,000, and that's the power of the crypto and NFT market. And then you could take that money and actually bring it back into the real world to heal others and create installations that are real for people.
Yeah, correct. And that's the mission. And Continuum will, here's the thing, it's expensive to rent these LED walls. I mean, they cost $200,000 for the entire installation. It's the entire duration of the period of the installation. So what we need to do is we need to strategize using the NFT sales to, tap into the community and really help build that sort of collective support, either from a private collector or create a DAO. And I'm actually looking into the DAO option too, because the more people participate and then actually vote on the city where it can actually be featured, the better. And you have more participation, community engagement, and it becomes a movement, a real bona fide movement. So Toronto is the first showcase, and we have a live stream. I'll send you the link Everything is live streamed. And we really want to make an impression on the world that, through NFTs, we could make the world better.
Yeah. And can you explain to our audience what a DAO is?
No, so that's a decentralized automated organization, autonomous organization. And that means that it's almost like collective ownership that's decentralized. So there's not one entity that owns a project. It could be the Continuum tour. If it's the Continuum tour, it could become a DAO that no one really owns the tour, but collectively you can own a part of it, right? And as it grows, as it succeeds, everyone gains in that success, and they sort of contribute to that success through their activity. So it's really an incredible concept, and a DAO can be applied to any sort of collective ownership structure. It could be even for real estate development. For even if you want to own a house as a DAO, you can possibly do that, right? You can own anything as a DAO, any asset, any sort of process. You could even consider, I mean, things are really going to change in the world, and DAOs, especially for art, if you consider museums, they're really hurting right now since COVID, and the whole how would you say, the benefactor structure for museums have changed so much. There aren't as many people who are willing to donate millions and millions to the museum anymore. It's sort of a crisis for many museums. Why not create a DAO for the collection, right? Why not create a DAO for the museums, for these institutions that need help? Why not create a DAO for schools? Why not create a DAO for really anything, any institution that helps society, that makes it better? Totally doable. And I think that's the future.
Absolutely. I mean, what do you think about even the music industry, a concert that people becomes decentralized? Because the model today is I'm throwing a concert, I need sponsors, and running around and trying to get sponsors, versus everyone contributing and then voting on who the artist might be and where it might be held and how you get in.
There you go. That's totally possible. Isn't that exciting? Like, that would be great if you can create a concert series around the world, and you can vote on which artists are there, and you can vote on the cities that it's featured in. I mean, that's exactly the structure that people want. I think people want to co-create. I think people are more and more used to that now. Instead of being a passive consumer, people are active creators, active conscious creators. We've shifted from industrial workers to conscious creators. And that's only going to shift even more. People are going to become more and more creative and more collaborative, because we're all going to be in the metaverse, making friends, working on projects together, coming together to find solutions to the world's problems. That's where the sweet sauce is, and that's where the opportunities lie in the future. And that's what people have to realize. There's no longer a structure where a kid goes to school, gets a job, and works at a company for the rest of their life. That is over. It's all about coming together on multiple layers, whether it's the metaverse, in real life, and that's all going to be sort of integrated into one, and making tribes, making groups, actionable groups, organizations, companies that solve problems, co-creation. I mean, that's what's happening here. Yeah. It's very entrepreneurial. It's very different now.
And how do you connect with your community and your fan base and build out? How do you maintain that human connection?
Twitter is basically where the entire crypto community really communicates properly, because everything is real time. And I find that the crypto community really values sort of like that, that instant information, right? Everything is about being in the know now with the community and building the community. And that's Twitter. Instagram is more of a showcase, like a gallery, if you will. Discord is where a lot of people are engaging and bringing the community together. And in fact, I'm still getting used to Discord, and I'm actually engaging a new social media manager for my studio to help me engage with my community properly. But I try to do it as much as I can in terms of offering my community gifts for supporting me. For example, with the Louis Vuitton Louis 200 celebration, I was chosen by Louis Vuitton, one of 200 visionaries around the world, to celebrate the birthday of Louis Vuitton, Mr. Vuitton, 200th birthday. And so there's a worldwide campaign. We create an art installation in the shop windows of all the major flagship stores of Louis Vuitton. And so many of my followers posted I have an AR filter on Instagram to celebrate this. I had a campaign where if they get the filter and they actually share and post, something with the filter, that I give them an airdrop of a commemorative NFT. So I just, I ask them for their ETH wallet, and I engage with them. I reward them for supporting me, right? So, and why not? So these are exciting times, and these are exciting ways to engage. And I think it's important for every artist, organization, company, whoever you are, school, create that engagement. And Discord is one of the platforms for now, but Metaverse is where it's all going.
That's right. Yeah.
And that's where I'm already set. I'm already heading for that, so that's already in the cards.
We'll see you next year, Krista. Have fun. But actually, you mentioned AR, and I also believe that AR is going to change our life for the better forever and ever. How do you think that AR is going to transform local communities and helping others and beautifying neighborhoods and all of that?
Well, so basically, Apple has announced that their Apple glasses will be ready within 3 years. So I would predict that within 5 years, safely, we will be walking around with AR glasses, and that will change the world. Basically, we will be able to see information and share information and be in touch through augmented reality data and in immersive experiences that are enriching. So for someone that's living in India, if you're living in India and you're living in a poor neighborhood, you can actually experience beauty in your neighborhood through augmented reality, and that uplifts the soul. So there's no excuse anymore. Everyone can live in dignity and beauty around the world, as long as you have access to these AR glasses. And I think that it's going to be as ubiquitous, if not more, than the phone, and it's probably going to replace the phone. That's my prediction. We won't look at screens anymore. We'll just be children from all over the world, no matter where you are in the most remote places of the world, to the power of 5G, can be educated through augmented reality and travel around the world and experience, education in an immersive way that really connects the human being to knowledge and sharing of information and experiences. A child in Africa connected to a child in China, connected to a child in the States. This global sort of transcendent coming together of children and experiencing it in their youth, experiencing human connection with other children around the world, that is going to create peace. That is going to break down the barriers of prejudice. And that's going to make people not fear one another, but understand one another more. So AR is going to be powerful. And that's the mission we have at Superworld, which is why I'm so passionate about the project.
Yeah. And, we're going to live through rose-colored glasses, literally, in the future. And I actually think it's going to go beyond any type of glasses and become lenses. It'll be lenses that we have in our eyes. It'll be much easier to access. And so the most important thing in the next 5 years is to create equal access to these devices so that everyone can experience that.
Right. Expanding 5G and 6G all around the world.
Right.
All over the world, yeah. And make the devices very affordable. It's more affordable to buy lenses than to buy a smartphone. So yeah, I think that it's a worthy mission to make it as accessible as possible. You're absolutely right, Kim.
And how do you think AR will further enhance our personal self-care, wellness, health and wellness routines?
It can help us manage them. We'll actually have concierge, and it'll be AR. So it'll be automatically, as soon as you wake up in the morning, you are You are reminded to meditate. You are reminded to take care, stretch, to take care of your body, to breathe, right? If it monitors your biodata and you're feeling stressed, you have a little note or some character that comes to you and says caringly, breathe, right? Take some time, like help you manage, help you, as a concierge, a personal concierge, because many times when we're stuck in stressful situations, we need a nudge, we need a friend, we need someone to coach us. And that could be a really revolutionary thing. And then of course, teaching us yoga, in our homes. Easy access for anyone at home to do whatever exercise you want, because you have a coach right there as a hologram in augmented reality in front of you. And I mean, I just think that wellness and education are important, and it makes the world a better place. And easy access for everyone is the goal, and that makes the world a better place. So it's really great.
I'm a true believer in nudgeware technology, and nudge for good and nudge for better, because we need sometimes those little reminders, and we can use technology for that. I'm so excited for the future. If you were a CEO of a traditional wellness company, how could NFTs in the metaverse disrupt your entire 2D business, blindside you? Like, how is it going to come in and just blindside these leaders because they're just not looking here right now?
The metaverse and the interaction in the metaverse that people will enjoy and will love, that's something that all brands have to recognize as the future reality of their brick and mortar. So brick and mortar is great, but people will be very comfortable with hanging out in the metaverse and having a branded experience of yoga or wellness, meditation, counseling, medical treatments, medical diagnostics. Technology is so advanced now that you can actually get like biodata that's read through lasers on your phone and fed into a platform that can actually give you all of the medical health information and services you need delivered to your house. I think that getting together now in the future will be more of a, sort of like a metaverse extension into the real life. That's what it's going to be, because people are going to be meeting up in the metaverse instantly. And then when they meet in real life, it's an organized metaverse in real life event. Okay. Mm-hmm. And if you have like yoga studios, fine. People will still go to yoga studios, but I think they're going to be more, you're going to have to do more than just have a yoga studio. I think you're going to have more of an experiential experience with digital technology in order to attract people. So digitize and be prepared to really build out into the metaverse and expand your services and your branding concepts.
And who do you admire most in the metaverse business today, and why?
I admire all of the metaverse platforms. Really, the creators of the metaverse platforms right now are so exciting to me, because they are the pioneer architects of our future. So I'm really excited about Superworld, Sandbox, Decentralized. There are so many other platforms, Wilder World. I really love Epic Games. Yes. Because of the Unreal Engine 5, the gaming creation platforms. Hyper photorealism is the future, what we need, and that's going to be the tool that will build our future, civilization, the future architecture, the worlds that we'll live in. So someone that I really admire is Peter Martin, who is a creator of Digital Humans, and he's a CEO of Valis Studio. And Valis Studio is the first, they're the ones that created, the first sort of VR films. They're pioneers in creating digital humans. And they recently did a wonderful project with Time Magazine, Martin Luther King. They actually reenacted the march and Martin Luther King's speech, I Have a Dream, in the metaverse for future generations to learn and to experience as a visceral experience, as if they're there in front of Martin Luther King himself in the metaverse delivering the speech. So, people like him who are really innovating the space, these are people I admire too.
Well, thank you so much for your time today, Krista. This has been such an enriching conversation. You are always so incredibly brilliant, and thank you for all the gifts you're giving to the world.
Oh, thank you, Kim. What a wonderful convo.